This is the story of Aonesty Selby, aged 18, who was found deceased in the rural Isle of Wight County located in Virginia on January 13, 2023. She died from a single gunshot wound at the hands of a very jealous boyfriend, Andarius McClelland, aged 21. Aonesty had only known this person for just 2 months before she was brutally shot and left for dead on a dirt logging path in a remote area of Isle of Wight County. Hello and welcome to Twisted Crimes. Subscribe and hit the like button for more stories.
In Isle of Wight County, police say someone found the body of a missing Williamsburg teenager. The family of Aonesty Selby reported her missing Friday morning, just days after her 18th birthday.
Based on this story, we will be traveling to Norfolk, Virginia. Norfolk is a bustling city, boasting a population of over 250,000 people and making it one of the largest incorporated cities in the United States. Norfolk, Virginia is also renowned for its strong military history. Home to the largest naval base in the United States, the city is also the headquarters of NATO's Allied Command Transformation. Aonesty Selby, who just turned 18 few days prior to the sad incident, grew up on the Outer Banks, but moved to Williamsburg in November to live with family and was attending War Hill High School, where she was a senior. Aonesty was in an on and off relationship with a young man called Andarius McClelland, aged 21. They had been together for barely 60 days before this incident. On January 11th, Andarius sent money to Aonesty via Cash App. The money was for her to get Uber from Williamsburg to his apartment in Newport News. Andarius, also known as Darius, shared the apartment with his brother. On getting to the apartment, they decided to go somewhere secluded where they could talk, smoke, etc. Andarius borrowed his brother's 9mm gun and his car, a 2021 Dodge Charger with a North Carolina license plate, which they drove around until they ended up in a dirt logging path in a remote area of Isle of Wight County. Having arrived in a very lonely location, Aonesty was a bit nervous and she decided to send her location to a very good friend just for safety reasons. Fast forward to the 13th of January, friends and family didn't hear from Aonesty and became really worried. On the same day, January 13th, 18-year-old Aonesty was reported missing after family and friends had not spoken to her since the 11th. Upon hearing that Aonesty was missing, the friend who she sent her location to finally checked her phone and saw that she got a message from Aonesty 2 days prior with her precise location. With this new piece of information, her family were able to follow the GPS towards the location where she was when she sent the message. The family called the cops about the new information and was told to stand down till police arrives. The family was instructed not to search on the private property, risking tampering with evidence or getting lost themselves. They just brushed up and did it themselves, and they ended up finding her on a dirt logging path in a remote area of Isle of Wight County.
In Isle of Wight County, police say someone found the body of a missing Williamsburg teenager. The family of Aonesty Selby reported her missing Friday morning, just days after her 18th birthday, and now they want to know how she died. Brenna McIntosh spoke to one of her relatives. Brenna, what did they tell you?
Just a few days ago on Tuesday, Aonesty's family says they celebrated her milestone birthday in the Outer Banks. Today, they are in mourning.
Aonesty Selby describes her niece as a helpful, loving, and sweet person. She says Aonesty dreamed of going to cosmetology school after high school.
She has such a good spirit about her that like little children and babies would just flock to her.
Aonesty says no one in the family had heard from Aonesty since Wednesday night, and they started to worry. Captain Tommy Potter with the Isle of Wight Sheriff's Office says someone found her body Friday in a rural area off the Blue Ridge Trail in Windsor.
We know that there was a gate off of Blue Ridge Trail that we did find unsecured, and so we think that is how that she and whoever else she may have been gained access to this area.
Potter wouldn't disclose who found Aonesty's body, but Aonesty says it was her, along with Aonesty's mother and father. Aonesty says a friend pinged her location and sent it to the family.
You never want to see anything like that in your life.
Captain Potter says the teenager's phone was last used around 8:30 Wednesday night, but investigators aren't sure it was Aonesty who used it. Detectives and family are trying to figure out how she got to the Blue Ridge Trail and her connection to the Windsor area.
There's never a place that we've ever heard of her visiting or going to anything.
A friend of Honesty says she wasn't the type to put herself in harm's way.
As of I know, she never really seemed to involve herself in anything that could potentially put her in danger.
We need answers. We need answers to all this. There's so many questions, so many questions.
Captain Potter says there will be an autopsy to determine how she died, but until then, investigators are treating this as a suspicious death.
Her family wished the friend who got the location could have read the message earlier and alerted someone close to her. Maybe that could have saved her life.
Turning our attention now to a homicide investigation. The clue to finding a missing teen may have been a cry for help, according to loved ones of Aonesty Selby. Police say a shared location that came from Honesty's phone led family members to finding her body.
News 3's Danielle Seda spoke with Honesty's older sister about this tragedy and tells us more.
Kalia Sellers, the older sister of Aonesty Selby, says the only way she can see her little sister now is through a screen. But it could never compare to the real thing.
She was so full of life. She didn't have no worries. She didn't bother anybody.
On her sister's 18th birthday, Sellers found out that she was missing.
And I was just praying that it was like she was at a friend's house, you know, just chilling.
A couple days later, a shared location from Selby's phone to a friend led family to her last location in Isle of Wight. Sellers believes this clue may have been a call for help.
I still have visions of how she would have been laying there, you know, in the cold, in the dark, by herself, scared.
Sellers says Selby's family notified police about the shared location. Investigators tell us the family was instructed not to search on the private property due to the risk of tampering with evidence or getting lost themselves.
They just rushed up and did it themselves. And they ended up finding her and then calling the police after.
Sellers says the call after family discovered her was heart-wrenching.
I broke down, screaming. It was so bad that the neighbors knocked on the door. It was like, "Are you okay?"
After her body was found, investigators collected enough evidence to conduct an arrest warrant to 21-year-old Andarius McClelland of Newport News.
After Honesty's body was found, investigators arrived 12 minutes later, then collected enough evidence to issue an arrest warrant for 21-year-old Andarius McClelland of Newport News.
A few minutes, but for now we get to an update.
Well, a man's now in custody for the murder of a missing Williamsburg teenager. Aonesty Selby disappeared 1 week ago today, and we're told her body was found shortly after on Blue Ridge Trail in Isle of Wight County. And now, Andarius McClelland faces second-degree murder charges for her death. Eugene Daniel joins us live now in Isle of Wight. Eugene, tell us more about this story.
Yeah, Aonesty Selby's family says that her death comes just days after they celebrated her 18th birthday. They reported her missing on Friday after not hearing from her for 2 days. And later that day, her body was found along the Blue Ridge Trail in Windsor. An autopsy revealed that someone had shot Selby. Just yesterday, detectives took Andarius McClelland of Newport News into custody. A judge arraigned McClelland this morning, and he is now in the Western Tidewater Regional Jail. There are still many questions left unanswered in this case, including how investigators linked McClelland to Selby's murder. In about an hour, the Isle of Wight Sheriff is expected to give an update in this case, and hopefully we'll learn the answer to that question and more.
Andarius was interviewed, and he confessed to the cops how he killed her. He sent her $30 to meet her at his apartment on January 11th. Then they went for a drive which brought them to the secluded area. They were talking when one thing led to the other, and they ended up arguing, which led him taking out his brother's 9mm to shoot Aonesty one time. He panicked, then left her and returned home hoping no one will link her to him. But thanks to Aonesty's cell phone data, police could track the events that occurred on her last day. Andarius attempted to sell the pistol to a friend identified as Cor Ravenel. His brother confronted him when he realized the 9mm was gone from his nightstand drawer. He was told he had sold the gun to Ravenel. Fortunately, he was able to locate the buyer and got back the gun, which was later surrendered to the cops. The police department had a briefing with reporters to summarize what had happened to Aonesty.
Previously stated, on Friday morning, the 13th, we received a teletype from James City County Police Department concerning 18-year-old Aonesty Selby, who was considered missing from their jurisdiction. At approximately 9:05 p.m., that same evening, our 911 center received a call from the mother of Aonesty Selby stating that they were on a logging path near Orbit Hunt Club. They were at that location because they had received information from a friend of Aonesty who actually on Wednesday night, the 11th, had shared her location via social media. That friend did not see that location share until Friday when she heard the news that Aonesty was missing. When the mother of Aonesty Selby notified our dispatch that they were on that logging path, they were advised to stand by until deputies could arrive. They did not, but they proceeded to search the roads and the paths in that area. They unfortunately discovered the body of Aonesty Selby that evening. Based on the investigation, it was determined that Aonesty may have been seeing a guy named Darius who lived in Newport News. Darius was later determined's real name was Andarius McClelland. In fact, sent Aonesty money via Cash App to pay for the Uber from Williamsburg to Newport News. Interviews with Andarius's brother revealed that Andarius and Aonesty were at the residence in Newport News on the 11th, and they both left together at approximately 7:15 p.m. that evening. During the investigation, it was learned that Andarius's brother kept a 9mm handgun in the home, and on the morning of Friday, January 13th, Andarius McClelland attempted to sell that firearm but was unsuccessful. That firearm, which we believe is the murder weapon, was recovered from the house as a result of the search warrant conducted in Newport News last night. Andarius McClelland told our investigators that he and Aonesty had been dating off and on for the past 2 months, and that from time to time she would come to his apartment or he would meet her in Newport News. On the night of January the 11th, she was at his apartment. When his brother got home from work, he asked to borrow the car. They then left, went to a store, and then, as was commonplace for them two, during their times together, they would look for a location to hang out and smoke marijuana. According to McClelland, they decided to drive to Isle of Wight County, where a location was found off of Iron Mine Springs Road, which is another road that's adjacent to the tract of timber where her body was found. According to McClelland, they drove up the path, they spent some time talking, smoking marijuana, and at some point an argument began over their relationship. And Darius tells investigators that he had the firearm on his person or in his hand at the time, and during the argument, he fired the weapon, striking Aonesty. He says he then panicked, left the area, and went back to Newport News. Subsequent to his arrest, Andarius McClelland is being held at the Western Tidewater Regional Jail on a no bond status.
Andarius McClelland, 21, was subsequently charged with second-degree murder and use or display of a firearm in committing a felony. The pair had only known each other for 60 days. Aonesty's 18th birthday was on January 10th, just a day before she was murdered. Friends and family gathered to commemorate Selby.
Community coming together to remember the life of a murdered teenager.
Yeah, Kurt, dozens gathered tonight at Yorktown Beach to honor the life of Aonesty Selby, taken far too soon. Friends and family gathered to commemorate 18-year-old Aonesty Selby. They played music, set out flowers, and candles were lit, illuminating the mourning faces of the loved ones left behind. The Williamsburg teen's body was found the day she was reported missing on a dirt logging path in a remote area of Isle of Wight County. And tonight, those who gathered grieving the huge emptiness now left in their hearts.
As older men, we shouldn't be burying our children, you know, and that's don't think that our parents that's been on our butt just for nothing. You know, that's remember that our family love you.
21-year-old Andarius McClelland has been arrested as a suspect in her death. He's facing charges of second-degree murder and a weapons charge.
We do hope Aonesty receives the justice she deserves. Our sincere condolences to the friends and families of Aonesty Selby. May Aonesty's memory be a blessing for her family and for all who knew her, and may her life and death be an inspiration and a turning point towards justice and increased protection for domestic abuse survivors. Please stay safe and see you guys in the next video.